it will improve. The reputation of Prince George's County will improve. We will attract businesses here, and they will generate more money. It is the reason why every week, one day a week in this administration, I spend in the school. I started this morning at the Chesapeake Charter School dealing with STEM, science, math, and technology. It is because there is no more important thing that we can do in this county than to improve our K-12 education system. Today we are here to launch our Transforming the Neighborhoods Initiative. I believe this initiative will help transform communities throughout Prince George's County. This initiative is another example of how this administration is rethinking the way we provide services to the public. We have to be more efficient and more effective in how we deliver services to our citizens and our residents of this county. All of the men and women of public safety, as you can see, this is a team effort, from corrections to fire to police to Homeland Security to emergency preparedness. Every part and facet of this administration is working together to move this county forward. Today is about neighborhoods and our plan to be proactive in 6 targeted communities from Glass Manor to Langley Park. We believe the results of this effort will have a positive impact on public safety, education, economic development, and health of our communities. We announced the tearing down of a set of complexes, apartment complexes, on Nova Avenue in Capitol Heights that have been there for over 10 years, dilapidated, places where people were hanging out, crime, and just a real eyesore to a very good community in District Heights and Susan and Capitol Heights. We tore it down. We made that promise coming in here. And then we come here today with the building up of what the vision of this county is going to be. Tearing down blight, building up what is going to be part of our vision, which is transit-oriented development, bringing people to Prince George's County community with great development. We always knew it could be done in Prince George's County. Just imagine the ability to bring in jobs, good, paid, union jobs in Prince George's County, the ability to bring in an additional $40 million for our schools, for education, for public safety, for health care in Prince George's County at a time when revenues are flat. That is what Question 7 is about. Many of the problems we have in our schools today is because of access to quality health care. Many of the issues we have in public safety is because of health care. Today, we step forward and begin to build a regional health care facility. Today, we begin that long process of making sure that Prince George's County in Maryland leads the nation in access and dealing with the chronic cares of health care throughout this region and hopefully throughout the nation. I'm very proud today to be in Prince George's. Thank you. And what we see today is a step forward in providing the type of services that everybody deserves. Not only can you call in, but you can go to county clinic. That is something that is new. It's going to make us respond better. It's going to allow you to track what's going on in the county and provide us better services. What this really is, though, is a beginning. This is simply a snapshot in time. This is not the end. This is not the celebration. The celebration happens when we turn around and no one up there on this side is sitting there. And you know why? Because it means those 6 areas in Prince George's County that heretofore until that happens, and that's not just crime, that's until health disparity goes away in those areas. That's when education is its finest in those areas. That's when job opportunities are there in those areas. That's when the celebration happens. That's when this administration will celebrate. Because until that happens, as long as I'm county executive, you will see this team out there doing what they need to do to make sure we're turning around Prince George's County, we're moving in the right direction, and this becomes the norm, not the exception. Thank you.
Mary, come on up. Aren't we so fortunate to be up here in District 1? We have the great Councilwoman, Mary Lehman, to welcome us. Mary, let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you, Mr. County Executive. I want you to give this great audience a round of applause because they came out on a Tuesday night, the night of the State of the Union address, and I said after I heard, I think last year, from 2 or 3 citizens, that is not going to happen in my council district. So thank you all really for coming out tonight. I want to thank the county executive for bringing his budget show, I guess, on the road. This is the 3rd year in a row that Mr. Baker has done a budget listening session in Council District 1, and here, right here in Laurel, at Laurel High School, and I'm grateful for that. The previous administration did not come to North County very often, so it really is a pleasure to have you out here listening to our wonderful citizens and my constituents about their ideas on the 2014 budget. I want to acknowledge somewhere out there is Mayor Craig Moe. Craig, where are you in the back? Thank you for having us. And Councilwoman Donna Prairie. Thank you, Donna, for being here. Are there any other elected officials that I'm missing? Anyone? No? Okay. So welcome again to Council District 1. I think this is a great turnout. It's great to see my constituents and others of you others have introduced themselves from outside this area in Prince George's County. Great showing by UFCW 1994, the library workers. I know that Avenger here, Mr. Baker, and I know all of our citizens have great ideas for the budget, and I just want to thank you again for showing you care, for coming tonight, and I'm looking forward to hearing your ideas and opinions. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we give you another round of applause? She's indeed one of my favorite council members, and I'm not saying that because I have her budget. But she does a great job, and we wouldn't be able to make the progress we've made in this county if it wasn't for her help. Whether you're talking about healthcare, public safety, bringing on our 311 system, or our county stat system, or forever badgering me about making sure that we have our transportation needs throughout the county, and especially up here, or the environment. She does a great job. I'd like to introduce you to a couple of other folks who make your government work, and I'd like for them to come up if they are not near the front or near the mic. I would like for them to come up to the mic and introduce themselves, and they are your directors and cabinet folks for the government. So why don't we come on up and introduce ourselves. Don't be bashful. So all the questions I can't answer, they will.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Monica Johnson, and I'm the Director of the Office of Central Services. Good evening, I'm Teresa Gray, Acting Director for the Department of Family Services. Hi, I'm Lori Brown, Director of Social Services. Good evening, I'm Susan Hunter, representing the Department of Public Works and Transportation.
Good evening, everyone. Ben Burge, Deputy Village Director. Mark Rangel, Fire Chief. Jay Ryan, County Executive Office of Economic Development.
At Ortiz, Acting Director, Department of Environmental Resources.
Good evening, Thomas Miller, Deputy Chief Administrative Officer.
Larry Sand, Deputy Chief Administrative Officer of Public Safety.
the investment deputy director of progress.
Good evening, Laurel, CIO, Director of IT. Rondo, my security director.
I know that we have a number of speakers here tonight, so what I want to do is keep my comments brief. We're here to listen to you. I will say from the very beginning that it is a very, very difficult budget year for us in Prince George's County. We are at the executive level going through our budget hearing with each and every department. We're having some tough discussions because revenues in the county are flat. And so we're going to have to make some hard decisions. So your comments tonight will weigh a lot on what we do with the limited resources we have in the county. I must say this though, over the past 2.5 years, or a little over 2.5 years that I've been in office, maybe it just seems about 2.5 years, but it's been a while, we've made some progress in Prince George's County. This year, our homicide numbers in December were down over 30%. Just think about it. Homicides in the county were down 30%. As the police chief reminded us today at budget hearings, if you compare other jurisdictions, Prince George's County, across the nation, homicides were down. They were down single digits, 7 and 8%. Ours were down double digits. If you look at Prince George's County, for the first time, we led the state in reduction in crime in every category. We were able to, in the past 2 and some odd years, we're able to strike a deal with Prince George's Hospital, University of Maryland Medical System, the state, and the county to build a regional healthcare facility in Prince George's County. And before the end of this year, we will actually have picked a site and gotten a CO in so we can start the process of building this new regional healthcare facility. In the county, it was announced a couple of weeks ago that we're going to have the State Department of Housing and Community Development come to Prince George's County. We picked a site in Carrollton that we're actually going to have for the first time a state agency located in Prince George's County. We've got a better than 50% chance of getting the FBI to actually move out to Prince George's County and bring those jobs here to Prince George's County. Our health, for the first time, our health department has won a number of grants, and we're making progress in reducing health disparities in the county. Our education system is making progress. We certainly wanted to go faster, but we're making progress in our education system. And then one of our signature programs is starting to show progress that will make Prince George's County a leader, not just in the state of Maryland, but in the nation. And that is our Transforming Neighborhoods Initiative, where we're going to focus on revitalizing 6 areas in Prince George's County. That if we turn those areas around, every part of Prince George's County will rise up. So we're making progress. Certainly could not have done it without the help of the council. Certainly my good friend Mary Lehman and her department and her colleagues, our friends in Annapolis, who will be calling on, quite honestly, I know a number of your questions will be around transportation, economic development. Quite frankly, if we don't figure out a way how we can get money into our transportation trust fund at the state level, we're all going to be in serious trouble. So we're going to be leaning on our partners at the state level to help us bring resources back here. But, so we've got some tough decisions. We want to hear from you. With that, Terry's going to give us a brief overview and we'll get started. Are we good? All right. Then we'll go over some rules.
Before I call the first speaker, I'd like to go over tonight's rules for proceeding. First, I'd like to ask everybody to lock yourself in to put on hydrant. In order to provide everyone the opportunity to present testimony this evening, a time limit of 3 minutes will be imposed. I have your timer set for 3-minute period. When there's 30 seconds left, I will hold up a sign reflecting 30 seconds. Once the time has expired, an alarm will go off. Please be considerate of others and wrap up your comments counties at that time. Thank you, and our first speaker is Ronald Bagola.
Before Ronald speaks, let me just say this. Betty Baker Francis, our Deputy CAO for Health, Human Services, and Education has just walked in. Let's give Betty a round of applause. And if you do not get an answer from us when you ask a question, it is on purpose, because we're here to listen to your ideas, your suggestions, and I hope that you have plenty of them. With that, our first speaker.
Ronald Bagola. Marsha Holt.
Marsha Boyd, Greenbelt, Maryland. I am not here to ask you to save my budget. You have no control over my budget. But to ask you to remember the people in our county who have no food and no shelter. I am the president of the board of FY14, a nonprofit volunteer faith-based organization. For 45 years, we have run 8 emergency food pantries in the county, feeding some 50,000 people each year. We are the largest such organization. We also run the Safe Haven winter shelter for homeless men and provide clothes to I-1 elementary schools as we can. FY14 operates on a budget of about $120,000 a year, plus about $180,000 in donated canned and boxed foods. Our 8 pantries are maintained by individual churches. The major source of our funding is from church and individual donations. 25 to 30% of it, however, comes from FEMA's Emergency Food and Shelter Program. In the county, there are 9 organizations that receive EFSP funds. Department of Social Services is the largest, and I assume uses their funds for emergency shelter. There is a Beachy County FEMA board, Team Hunters and DSS supports them. FEMA has made EFSP funds available for about 25 years. Until 2010, we received half of our funds in April, half in October. In 2010, the state slipped to October and December. In 2011, they slipped again. In 2012, the date slipped all the way into February 2013. We received half our funds, $24,000, on February 8th. Because we received this money 4 days ago, my presentation to you tonight has changed. I am not in total panic. We have funds for a few months. We have never shut our pantries down. This past summer, we noticed an influx of customers and learned several pantries did close. Could FY14 did not do this past year because of no funds. We could not purchase shoes, underwear, and coats for elementary school children. It is very painful to know that kids go to school without these things. It is more painful to know they go to school without eating. Because of the great generosity of a few churches and a few individuals, we keep going when we have no money. If the $24,000 hadn't arrived last Friday, I was going to plead with you for help. Contact a congressman that would talk to you more than they talk to me. Heck in the FEMA office. I am worried about our future funds. When you make your very difficult budget cuts, possibly eliminating the DSS staff to get people their food, stamps, and their emergency shelter, and when you look at your home checkbooks, please remember that the least of these are our brothers and sisters. Thank you.
Barbara Simon.
My name is Barbara Simon, and I live in Greenbelt, Maryland, for the record. I'm representing tonight the Friends of Prince George's County Libraries, of which I'm president. Our library has 19 branches, each with its own friends groups, but together we form the county group. And with one voice, we support the network of neighborhood libraries in our county, all of our libraries. At last week's hearing, I was joined by members of friends groups from Accokeek Bay and Oxon Hill branches. Tonight we have friends from Laurel and New Carrollton branches, as well as many staff representatives. At last week's hearing, I spoke about the importance of neighborhood libraries and the recent renovations and improvements in those branches that serve the county executive's Transforming Neighborhood Initiative project. Tonight I want to talk about the growing use of libraries across the whole county. In the past 3 years, The number of people entering the libraries has grown by 14,000. The number of public computer sessions is growing 90,000. And the estimated number of reference questions that were asked of librarians will rise 90,000. At the same time that the public is using our libraries more and more, the libraries had to decrease services due to budget cutbacks. For example, the projected number of new print volumes added in fiscal year 2013 is 200,000, 20,000 fewer than 3 years ago. The decrease in service that the public is most aware of is the loss of number of hours that the library branches are open. In fiscal year 2010, the library lost almost 6,000 hours. The number of hours the library is open has never changed. Those lost hours have never been restored. We need to turn these statistics around. As more and more people are using our libraries more and more, the library branches have to be open more hours, not fewer hours. To many county residents, library service is more than recreational. It provides them with knowledge to further their education, support their businesses, find employment and health information, and to follow current news. These are vital services that should be available to all of our residents. No library branch should be threatened with closing. No neighborhood should be singled out for destructive action as such. All our neighborhoods deserve a library, and they deserve libraries that are open more hours.
Renee Austin. Ruth Mandel. Arnetta Bowman. Alicia Boulevard. Kathy Favard.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Favard from New Carrollton Library. I belong to the Friends. I'm not a librarian. However, I just wanted to show you this nice, it's just a flyer that we have out for people that come into the library, and it says, drop in for computer help. So, and then you have down here that you do have basic computer skills. Well, anyway, we received this wonderful compliment, and I just wanted to share it with you. It was a gentleman, a family man, who came in to the New Carrollton Library, and he informed us his job was reinstated. Well, Devin, who does the, her name is, she does the teaching at the lab, computer lab, she just thought that was such a wonderful compliment. He had been on suspension for 3 months for lacking in his computer skills, and he returned to work and he came back to thank us for his computer course that he received at the library. And I just thought, we're in a new world now. Libraries are not just for reading. There's so many resources out there. And the other thing I want to share with you is even NASA. We're in New Carrollton in the month of February. I don't know if you're familiar with the acronym STEM, S-T-E-M, that's science, technology, engineering, and math. Well, we have these beautiful banners up all about here, there, and everywhere. And I just want to share it with you that people come in and read all these things. It's quite a bit of reading, finding out about the galaxies and wind and all that go on, transpire up there. And gravity, which I didn't even know existed up there. I know it's down here, but they're very interesting. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, that the library is being used for so many different things. Thank you.
Anisha Escobar.
evening, County Executive.
Good evening.
Community members. Thank you, County Executive, for allowing me with the opportunity to talk about issues I'm concerned about as we plan the county's budget. My name is Anaisa Escobar. I'm a Riverville resident and a youth leader at Latin American Youth Center, Maryland Multicultural Youth Center, also known as MMYC. Tonight I want to share my story and how my life has improved because of mental health counseling. At 15 years old, I dropped out of high school because I got pregnant. I knew I had to work to take care of my child, but I also knew that education was critical. I started going to night school, and while in night school, I had my second baby. Dealing with work and being a young mother was really hard, and on top of that, I lost my mother when I was 16 years old. I lost my best friend, my main supporter. My world was crushed. I became depressed. There was a lot on my plate that I had to deal with, and I had to grow up fast. Back then, I did not know there were counselors that I could see to help me deal with my problems. My life went on as I knew it, challenging, crazy, stressful, and what seemed like a life with little options. That was until I discovered the MMYC's GED program, through which I first learned about how counselors for people with stress, anger, and depression. Mental health services at schools and community centers where young people like me already go to are crucial. Since I started seeing a counselor, my life has been easier. When I was depressed and stressed out, I had a hard time coping with issues and dealing with people. If talking to a counselor has made my life better, I know that other youth like me who may be experiencing problems will also benefit from services. Based on my experience, I know what can make a difference. Mental health preventative services provide youth and families with a chance to deal with issues before they escalate to bigger problems. Because I know what it's like to experience depression and what it means to come out of it, I have become a mental health advocate through MMYC's Puentes or Bridges Leadership Program. Mental health services are important not just for the well-being of young people, but also for our entire community. Executive Baker, I know that you are a mental health supporter. This budget season, please do not forget youth like me, youth who want to subscribe but who face barriers because of our daily stressors. Please protect and increase funding for mental health services for Prince George County youth families. We need services at school, at community center, or other places where youth already go to. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony, Ms. Escobar.
Martin Sebo.
Good evening, County Executive Baker.
Good evening.
Hello, my name is Martin Sealoth. I'm a UFCW Local 1994 member, obviously, a Prince George's County Library employee, and a Prince George's County resident. I'm also in Mary Layman's district in Laurel. Many are saying that your Prince George's County Library budget for fiscal year 2014 will be cut 5%. Others are saying that the budget could be cut in excess of 15%. Since 2008, our Prince George's County Library operating budget has been cut overall by 24%, and the number of library visits has increased 11.8%. I'd like to repeat that just so people can kind of get that correlation. Since 2008, the operating budget has been cut by 24%, and the number of library visits has increased by 11.8%. I know a lot of people are probably saying, wow, I'm very surprised that the library is being used even more. I thought people were using the internet more. I thought they were going online more. But the library, as people said, is a lot more than just that. When unemployment spikes so high, people come to the library to look for jobs. They don't have money. There's not a place that they can go to get some fancy person to help them do it. They come to the library. It's free. They can get help. When people are laid off of jobs, blue-collar jobs in particular, they come to the library to learn about the computer. We have computer classes that help people get them back started. So, particularly in tough times, a library is used far, far more, and obviously we're still in tough times. So, I would ask that when you consider, first of all, maybe consider small cuts, if any at all, to our budget, because we're doing far more than we do even in regular times. And ask you to please try to do what you can to protect the Prince George's County budget and the communities we serve. It is vital not only to the county, which the libraries have a great reputation, nationwide, but to our residents as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Denise Pritchett.
Good evening, Honorable Rashern Baker, County Council members, and residents of Prince George's County. My name is Denise Pritchett. I'm a resident of Prince George's County and a member of UFCU Local 1994 McGeo and an employee of Prince George's County Memorial Library System. I'd like to read a letter written by a colleague, Rosemary Crumley, who attended last week's town meeting, but couldn't be here tonight because she is presenting a program at the Bowie Branch Library. As a member of UFCW Local 1994 McGeo and as an employee of the Prince George's County Memorial Library System, I am writing in support of our library and the significant role it plays in the lives of your constituents, the residents of Prince George's County. The library provides an array of services that include the circulation of print and electronic materials, access to computers, use of conference and study rooms, and literacy programs for all ages. You've heard the statistics. Library use is climbing, and it has kept climbing over the past 5 years, but during that same period, the library has seen a 24% cut in our operating budget. In response, we have had to cut the number of hours we are open. We're closed on Sundays. We have cut our staff and had furlough days. We've cut programming, which is down 48% since 2010, including cutting pre-literacy programs for young children. Mr. Baker, last week you shared that your vision for Prince George's County is that residents know this is one of the best places to live. But how does one define best place to live? Well, it's important to note that CNN Money and BusinessWeek.com both list the number and proximity of libraries in a community as a strong criteria at ranking the best places to live. If convenience to government services is important, then you should understand that past budget cuts have already undermined our ability to provide convenience to Prince George's County residents. The sad truth is that a student doing homework on a Sunday afternoon who needs to go to the library to check out a book, access the internet, or use our databases because he does not have a computer at home, now needs to go to a neighboring county like Anne Arundel, Montgomery, or Howard, or to the District of Columbia to complete his assignments. Last week you heard from an Akakeek resident who cannot Skype from home with her son who lives in a remote village in Pakistan, not because he does not have internet access, but because her section of Akakeek does not. If budget cuts result in branch closings, will hers be one of the ones to close? As Toni Morrison once said, access to knowledge is the supreme act of truly great civilizations. Of all the institutions that purport to do this, free libraries stand virtually alone in accomplishing this mission. We understand the importance of libraries in supporting your vision and mission for Prince George's County. It is abundantly clear how important libraries are to society and to Prince George's County residents in particular. But as you plan your fiscal year 2013-14 budget, our question becomes, how important are libraries to you, Mr. Baker? And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Susie Missile.
My name is Susie Misla. I'm a Prince George's County resident, library worker, and UFCW Local 1994 union member. I have some questions for you to consider on closing libraries. What does it cost to close a library? How much more library service will we lose because the library system must absorb these added costs at a time of substantial funding cuts? What happens to the books and equipment in the closing branch libraries? Where does it go? Does the library system have space available? If not, how much does new space cost? books and equipment be moved? How much will it cost to move? Will the small remaining library staff carry books and equipment from place to place rather than as library staff serving the public? Please do not forget these details. They are important. And then, what happens to the buildings? Will the library system and the county walk away from them? If not, what does it cost to pay for maintenance? There's utilities, grass cutting, plywood for broken windows. Is the plan to divert the library's limited remaining resources away from serving the public into maintaining empty buildings? Is that an effective use of our tax money? Another question, what happens to the children who use the libraries? Do they stop studying, writing school papers, and preparing school science projects because they can no longer do research in the libraries? There are many residents, children, who rely on the library to complete their homework. Evenings, Sunday afternoons, every day. If a library closes, what cost to the county's educational goals? And what about the children who go to the library after school because they have no adult at home? What is the cost in added police supervision and additional social services? Mr. Baker, additional cuts to the library budget could lead to the closing of libraries. At what cost? Thank you.
Melanie's rule.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me once again, Executive Baker, along with your panel. And I know what I'm about to say will not be popular, but I come here because I want the community to help ourselves. And saying that is sometimes we just cannot wait for the government to write us a check. My son's school has probably over 500 students. I see the kids with the latest video games and telephones and all these things. I'm thinking, imagine if every parent donated $500 a year to that school, to where we can build our own science lab and computer lab. And also, we can also provide more support services, which I heard the young lady say how she dropped out and how now the services that was provided helped her. Another thing is, as far as STEM, I didn't wait for someone to come in. I went out and I asked an organization called Club Scientific to help us with our STEM program. And now Club Scientific, they come in and they teach kids how to video design and the Lego, the Lego thing, and how to work on the computers. And people told me that wouldn't work. And it did. Parents signed up for it. They paid $225 for that. Also, I'm glad to see the librarians here. I would like to see more partnerships with the local schools and the library, to when they're doing their literature curriculum, that you would have to use the services at the local library. And you can pay a little fee, which would, I don't know how much, because I haven't done the math, but that would create a partnership. It would also bring in some funds, because the parents have to pay a fee to access the material that the teacher is assigned. I would like to see the schools work with our local libraries as well. I do have some other stuff, but I won't go into it. But I would love to send you a spreadsheet of exactly what I'm saying, to it will break down as far as money-wise. Thank you very much.
ideas to our Office of Budget and Management?
Did I?
Yes.
No, I haven't. I just want to.
No, I said you can.
Okay, I will.
Great.
Amy Puskinsky.
Good evening, County Executive Baker. Thank you for coming to Laurel tonight. My name is Amy Puskinsky, and I've been a homeowner in this county and city for 13 years, and I'm a longtime volunteer at the county animal shelter. I can appreciate the county's budget woes as every person and every household faces some financial troubles in their lives, and we have to make the dollar stretch farther. However, I am disappointed and honestly quite angry at some past examples of poor financial stewardship that the county has committed. Years ago, when nonprofit animal welfare contractors ran the shelter, the county paid them good money, and a lot of it, and there were many complaints about the level of care that the animals received. When the longtime contractor left in 2008, they left with over $900,000. When the next contractor left after just 1 year, they walked away with $290,000. That's over $1 million total. You can look at it as gross overpayments or as money that was not spent where it should have been on the animals. Either way, somebody wasn't paying attention and let it happen year after year after year. I have brought this issue up to many levels of the government many times over the years, to people in your administration and to the previous county executive's administration, and never got a satisfactory answer as to who dropped the ball on this and how is the county making sure it doesn't happen again. I understand that you weren't here in 2009, but you have to acknowledge that many people in the government today were here when this was happening. They knew about it and chose to do nothing. As an ironic twist to the story, the long-term animal welfare group has subsequently transferred some of those pocketed funds to another nonprofit animal group who has then sued the county in recent years, taking up your time and our tax dollars. Before inducing panic in residents that there will be cuts to public safety and education, please first guarantee us that there aren't other poorly managed contracts out there sucking up our precious tax dollars. We have to trust you with our money, so please don't disappoint us. And please don't forget the homeless animals in your care. The last time I came to one of these forums was 2 years ago, and at that time I asked you that I knew animals weren't your number one priority, and I completely understand that, but I asked that they wanted to be, but they don't be your last priority. And when I got the handout today, here's your priorities. Animals and the euthanasia rate is on here, and I hope you haven't forgotten about them. Thank you for your time.
Celine Kleiner. Hi.
Hello.
I come to speak against cutting any of the library's budget. Our library system should be recognized as the shining star it is in the county that is often recognized only for its negatives. I speak both personally and professionally. First, professionally, as a clinical social worker, most often working with people who are financially or below poverty level, I point to the library as a place where they can borrow books for free that they otherwise couldn't afford, learn computer skills, and get information resources that may lead to better health, better communication skills, and better job skills. And if we don't have a resource in this county, we can always access with an interlibrary loan and almost anything we need. When you're poor, having access to books, films, music, and publications is priceless. And it is for us priceless. The library is a model of inclusiveness and equality in action. All you need is an address and you get millions of free resources. At the same time, the library serves many specialized groups. For some individuals with addiction issues, there is an abundance of self-help and recovery books and recordings. Did you know that Overeaters Anonymous was able to distribute information through the library system as a resource for compulsive eaters? I have watched people grow where they gingerly get on the computer for the first time and you see them years later and they are whizzes at the internet. People who are not native English speakers borrow DVDs and learn English. I've been working predominantly with seniors for the past few years. Did you know that on March 10th there's a brain-stimulating activity sponsored by the Largo branch, which actually helps push off dementia. Leads to tab at a later time. In writing this, I discovered something new. 34 specialized databases and listservs that suggest books to read or listen to. I am also on the board of the Prince George's County Historical Society. We are located on the first floor of the Greenbelt Library. Every year, we are open there. More and more people come to access our records or hard copies of so much of this county's history. Personally, I have used the library, borrow books, and so much more. I understand how my ADHD works in my life. We're so much better for having read the books and magazines at the Greenbelt branch. I can learn to be healthier. I can buy a new phone and be sure that the library will have a simple book that will explain the apps and widgets on my phone. It's brutal enough when the library started being closed on Sunday, but to shorten the hours or have less staff will be terrible. And the last thing I want to say is I access the library so often that I have memorized my number.
Distinguished guests, Prince George's County constituents. Thank you for this opportunity to come before you to offer comments on the fiscal 2014 budget. My name is Tanya Lawson, and I am the president of Oxon Hill High School PTSA, which is in Oxon Hill, Maryland, South County. I'm very proud of that. We currently have over 420 active members in the PTSA. And as a Prince George's County resident for 15 years, as a concerned parent, citizen, and an active school member, we strongly urge you to make education a priority and not to reduce the budget in any way. The time has come for the entire county to increase its commitment and dedication to education reform and to make education a priority until the problem is fixed. We all know that in the 24 school districts that exist in the state of Maryland, Prince George's County school system has ranked 24 for the past 20 years. And when I moved into the county from New Jersey 12 years ago, the school system was ranked 24. And this year, or last year, it's ranked 24. It hasn't budged. And as a parent who is directly engaged with the school system, I'm appalled. I'm angry at the dysfunction, the lack of leadership, the lack of vision, how money is mismanaged, how money is not equally dispersed from one end of the county to the other end of the county. Oxon Hill High School is currently having a new school built. We currently have 1,700 students in that school. But this new school that was built was only built for 1,200 students, which means that we have to give up 500 students to send them somewhere else. Oxon Hill High has a very good science and technology program. Over the past 10 years, it has worked very hard at building its program to where it is. Science and technology program. We have a stellar award choir. We have a nationally acclaimed performing arts group. And now we are being forced to lose 500 students, which is going to impact our budget, it's going to impact our staff, it's going to impact our resources, it's going to impact the quality of the programs that we offer. Although that we have had some educational accomplishments, there's still many concerns within education. County Executive Baker would also like to ask you to please reconsider and assess the school board and the superintendent and the fact of how the superintendent's priorities just get rubber stamped by the school board. There are many concerns. Please, we can't expect economic development and expect large businesses to come to the county if they can't trust that their employees will get a quality education. So we must insist and demand, community, constituents, we must insist and demand that education remain a priority. Please do not cut the budget for education, and please help Oxon Hill High School. Thank you.
Good evening, County Executive Baker and Councilwoman Mary Lane. Welcome to the northern part of the county.
Good to be here.
I have a few items. You know me well enough to know that I never come with just one. And I know everyone else is concerned about budget cuts. Well, I'm going to ask you to put $100,000 in the budget for something.
Okay.
You just heard an impassioned plea about Oxon Hill. Lady, you should be happy you're getting a new school. You should see what my kids at High Point have to deal with day in and day out. The reason I'm asking for $100,000 is because we had a meeting yesterday with Dr. Levere from the state, and High Point is so far down the list in the needs study, and yet when the air conditioning system is on in the spring, in the fall, the condensation runs through the pipes, builds up, it looks like it's raining in the school, and this is not from the classrooms on the top floor, this is on the second and first floor classes. This winter, when it was 21 degrees, I had classrooms at High Point that did not have heat. 2 weeks ago, there was an electrical fire in the school because the electrical system in the school cannot accommodate the needs for the technology and everything else. So I'm asking for $100,000, and where this is coming from is my understanding after our meeting yesterday, we need the support for both the county council and the school board to put $100,000 in for a feasibility study to either renovate or rebuild High Point. And just a little history lesson, High Point is the oldest high school in the county that has been continuously functioning, that has never been renovated. It's had a few Band-Aids put on it over the years. But these students are, and the teachers are dealing with mold and ceiling tiles falling down when the air conditioner is on. So I would ask you to find $100,000 so that we could get a feasibility study done. The funny thing was is that Doctor mentioned yesterday how shabby the school looked from the outside because it wasn't painted, and I'm like, I'd like to put a facelift on the outside, but I'm concerned about what the kids and the teachers are dealing with on the inside. So, Beltsville needs $100,000. And the other thing I would ask you to consider is, I know that this is shifting gears to the fire department, but I know the budget is tight, and I also know that there's been a long-standing history between the volunteers and the career firefighters in this county to find a way for those two organizations to work together and to make the volunteers still feel welcome. This is not the time to have volunteers who are providing services feel that you're asking them to leave. And last but not least, I need a few more men and women up at District 6 Police Station. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Celeste Hill, and I'm the founder of Lovely Ladies of Laurel, an all-girl mentoring group. I would like to thank you and Mary Lehman for all your support that you have shown us so far. Currently, Lovely Ladies of Laurel has been an establishment for 4 years, and we have over 400 girls who have come through the program. However, there is still a tremendous need for more programs like Lovely Ladies of Laurel, especially for males. So when you are discussing your budget, please remember the youth, both females and men, and the need for mentoring service. Without positive role models such as mentors, a youth may make a choice that can be devastating to their future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fisher.
Good evening. Good evening. County Executive Baker. Mary Lynn, I want to thank you all for this opportunity to speak. I'm going to request that I have two students who would like to speak. One currently is a senior and the other one is alumni, due to the others being able to speak on behalf of the library. And I think that's only fair in this process. I just want to say that First Generation College Bound has entered its 23rd year. And I come here tonight to ask for continued support for what we do. 22 years ago, I started this program with my own funds. And I'm one of those kids, by the way, who went on to graduate high school and because of government support. I grew up in the housing project. I was educated with a teacher corps. And I just finished a 35-year career teaching in the Howard County Public School System where I'm retired today. And because of government support, I've been able to do this. Today, as of today, I started in one community in one high school 23 years ago. Today in Prince George's County, we're serving 2 communities, Kimberly Gardens, Laurel, and Alden, Berkeley, and College Park, as far as college-bound services, where we're helping kids to think college with wanting to go to college, building a college-bound attitude to attend college. And we're taking that attitude now also in the 3 middle schools in Prince George's County. Eisenhower, Williamworth, Stoddard Middle. And matter of fact, that's one of your focus communities, one of your priorities communities are there. And in terms of high schools, we're serving Laurel, Fairmont Heights, Central, Potomac, and Parkdale. Our goal this year is to have more than 100 students enrolled. As a matter of fact, we have 100 students enrolled already. Our goal is 150. We've been able to do this because we've been able to get funding due to county support, and we've leveraged money from Freddie Mac Foundation and the Jackie Cook Foundation to continue our efforts. And I just want to say that because of this, we have 425 alumni after 23 years who've gone through this program that have graduated from college. And 300 more are still in college. And because of the Jackie Cook Foundation, we have this funding to keep track of these kids. And because of Freddie Mac, we now have one person in each of the high schools to serve our kids. And at this time, I would like for one student to give her comments.
And I'm a senior here at Laurel High School. First Generation College Bound has helped me with the application and financial aid process, and I am now going to Lafayette College in the fall on a full tuition scholarship. I for PG County to continue to fund First Generation so that students can receive help in the college and financial aid process, making their journey to higher education easier. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Councilmember Sharon Baker. My name is Bridget Akintunde, and I am an alumni of First Generation College Bound and Moore High School 2001 graduate, so I'm very proud to be back here in this beautiful auditorium. But I've known Mr. Fisher now for over, like 15 years now, and First Generation College Bound was a program for me that I think just really helped to instill what it meant to be somebody and go to college. Throughout my time with the program, I was able to receive funding for my education. I'm a graduate of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and then also received my graduate degree from the University of Maryland University College. And right now I'm working as a market research analyst with MedStar Health, a local health system in the area. And without the funding and the support from First Generation when it came to financial aid and making sure that I was able to go on college tours and meet with individuals of stature who just showed us what it meant to be strong individuals in the community, that had really meant something to me. Right now I also serve on the retention committee for First Generation College and Bound to make sure that we stay in touch with students who matriculate onto college and to see that they know that they have somebody that supports them as they're going through that process. So if you're looking forward to support and provide funding for an organization that means something to the Prince George's County community in many ways, First Generation College Bound is that organization. Thank you.
Commissioner Baker, thank you for coming out to our area. I am the High Point High School PTSA president, and I've been a PTS executive board member for over 17 years. I have a student that is currently at High Point High School. Kind of following Karen Coakley's message that she told you about the conditions of High Point High School. From a parent, I'm really upset about it because as the third largest high school in PG County with over 21,089 students, we have terrible conditions in the schools. Right now, our piping is deteriorated, our air conditioning can't be cut on, our heaters don't work, we have exposed ceiling tiles that fall around the children. We have students sitting in classrooms with buckets. We have mold in our classrooms. I walked into one classroom and had to leave. We've had electrical fire. I mean, just ongoing items, issues that have been happening in High Point, and we've been overlooked. I don't know what else to say, but, hopefully that nothing's cut from the budget, some money can be given to us from the budget, and we are seeking $100,000 to do something with High Point. Right now, it's very deteriorated. Thank you very much.
Dorothy Genter. J.D. Oh, here she is. I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
Thank you, Deb.
County Executive Baker, County Council members and residents. My name is Dorothy Ginter, and I live on Valerie Lane down in South Florida. I've lived in Prince George's County since 1966, and at my current address since 1969. I have followed and seen almost 50 years of change in this county, and not all of it for the better. Because I feel that a top functioning school system is the key to this county's future. Much more so than just new development, which entails vastly expensive infrastructure investments and invariably negatively impacts the current residents. My first priority is for the county budget is that of the public school system, but not necessarily for the programs that will be proposed by that school system. I have volunteered in the county schools almost continuously since 1966, and I have observed many changes in the system, and again, not all for the better. In various elementary and high schools, and programs as varied as the talented and gifted, remedial education, special education, libraries, and the IB program, with a combination of excellent, average, and mediocre teachers and principals. And I believe strongly in developing a partnership between the schools and the county libraries. It is my personal observation that unless the educational system quits treating each child to the same cookie-cutter type of instruction, such as pulling children out of class for special instruction, but still expecting the poor kid to pass state exams on the subject matter that was missed, and quits making excuses, for example, poverty, other issues, for not succeeding in teaching the children, and truly individualizes the instruction for each child, we are probably doomed to failure. From my observations over the years, the statistics that you quote as having risen do not truly reflect the progress of education that is actually taking place in the schools. Since there is a projected shortfall in revenues, my suggestions for prioritization would be to spend more on education and services to the residents, such as maintenance of existing transportation facilities and roads, and less on providing extremely expensive roads and highways for new development. Spend less on administration of county services in all the county agencies and the school system, and more on the actual services themselves. Thank you very much for providing this opportunity for me to air my opinions. Thank you.
sir.
Good evening.
And good evening to my councilwoman, Mary Lehman. My name is J.D. Perkins. I am the Vice President of the Vansville Heights Citizens Association. Vansville Heights is located in Beltsville. I am here to echo several people. One is my president, Barack Hussein Obama, who is stressing education. Number two, I am here to back up a commercial you see on TV where it expresses the notion that there are all these jobs that will become available but will not be fulfilled because we will not have qualified people to accept them because of our current educational system. I am here, if you've watched one of those commercials, the young man explains how the 20,000 jobs will be available, but they'll have to go elsewhere to get them. Karen Coakley has expressed a desire for $100,000 to be utilized to check into the feasibility of building a new High Point school, which is an old school and is in very desperate need of repair. And I've also been informed that it's cheaper to build another school than it is to do this one. However, I'm not qualified to say that. But a $100,000 fee, I believe, would go into a study making that decision either pro or con. But in either case, the school needs to be taken care of. And it seems that we always cut education. And I'm only thinking it's being cut because they're too young to vote. They don't pay taxes. I have grandchildren who attend High Point. I also volunteer at Vansville School. So, without further ado, sir, I'm asking that you all decide on the future in a positive way and grant the money, $100,000. Thank you.
Maxine Brown Roberts.
Good evening, and good evening, everyone. I'm here to just give a few words in support of Mr. Fisher and the First Generation College Bound program. I will just tell you a little bit about my experience. I have three sons. One went to college, the other one is in college. The third is in 12th grade, preparing to go to college, and they all have been working with Mr. Fisher on preparing for college. One of the things that I like about the program is the individual attention that the students get. And many of the students are from households that are not able to offer them the support to go to college. And I think that this program has helped these children to see that even if they don't have the finances in their family situation, there are other ways of getting to go to college. And therefore, I would really like to sit here and ask for your support for this program, and so that they can continue their good work. Thank you.
Last speaker of the evening will be Tom Fernando.
Good evening, County Executive Baker. I'm Tom Hernota, President of the Friends of the Laurel Library.
And former council member, welcome to have you. Glad to have you here.
Thank you, sir. I'm speaking on behalf of the Laurel Friends. We have some of the I'm concerned about the potential impact of the projected county budget shortfall of Prince George's County municipal library system. With the size of the projected budget shortfall, it's typical for the administration to seek proposals for reduced budgets from every department. However, looking at the library system, reducing the budget by any significant amount will have serious effects on the system and therefore the citizens of the county that rely heavily on their community libraries. The result will have to be a reduction in staffing, causing reduction in hours, and closure of library branches. The impact of such reductions and closures will have a negative effect on the quality of life of the county. As you know, the library budget is part of the education category of the budget. It is no less part of the educational infrastructure than the school system or the community college. As someone who considers himself an education county executive, you cannot reduce contributions to the library system by 15% or even 10% and expect the quality of life in the county to improve. In such a scenario, good to great becomes good to gone. Reducing, and I pulled out of your webpage, the archives, this is the library system budget over the last 9 years. And as you can see, it peaked in 2008, as some of the speakers have mentioned, and then it dropped precipitously after the budget crisis, only to go up this current year. Now, the increase this current year is largely due to the opening of the South Bowie Library. So for most libraries, they're not actually seeing a budget increase. This is really just reflecting the growth of the system by the new library. If you were actually to reduce the county portion of the library budget this year by as much as 15%, you would actually go back to about a $22 million budget, which would take us back to fiscal year 2005. So you would basically see 10 years of library budget growth disappear overnight. And I know that the administration has to look at proposals and options. I would encourage you to resist this option. Now, obviously, the county will have to reduce expenditures if the projected shortfall is accurate, and there are many mechanisms for the county to do so, and I spent a number of years arm wrestling Mr. Himmler over these types of things. I'll make a couple suggestions. This list is not exhaustive.
You know he's here today.
I know he is, that's why I mentioned him. He always appreciated his arm wrestling sessions. I'm not sure who won. First, you're projecting a $27 million budget deficit this year with almost half a year to go. Please start reducing expenditures now. I'm sure you have. Second, in a typical year, the county expenses increase about $60 million a year just by natural growth. Your administration, according to the handout, is projecting an increase of about $123 million of reduction next year, expenditure increase next year, which would suggest that you have issues that you need to address and that you need to explain to the public. An increase of double the typical base amount raises questions about whether the expenditures are under control. In your handout this evening that was on the website, it doesn't adequately address this, and I think that would be helpful to the public if it had more explanation. It would seem that you need to freeze vacancies, delay expenditures, cut overtime, and to piggyback on Ms. Coakley, especially the fire department, which is notorious for out-of-control expenditures of overtime, rather notorious. That means you need to make peace with volunteers and rely on them to do more, as your predecessor ultimately learned was necessary. And third, as you know, you will have to dip into reserves. Of course, while this is necessary to a point, that's not a wise policy, as you know, for the long-term continuing expenditures. That's only going to take you so far. Fourth, the $50 million business incentive fund. That's great, but businesses will not come if you cannot provide basic services like maintain a library system or pave neighborhood streets, so you may want to dip into that as part of your incentive for businesses to come, is maintaining some of these critical infrastructures. Fifth, if you have increasing debt service costs at a time of low interest rates and a AAA bond rating, you need to scale back capital improvements to some degree. Six, you need to reduce the amount of discretionary grants to the county executive and the county council to give away each year. I know everybody enjoys receiving those. This includes some nonprofits that I'm associated with, but still, the county executive has a much larger amount, and hopefully you'll look at some of those discretionary funds. I haven't been through this situation before. I know there are many more steps that your administration can take to try to deal with the projected shortfall, but it's clear from the presentation that your administration needs to bring in expenditure increases. Not pay for them by making drastic cuts in critical areas like the library system. Drastic cuts of this nature will not instill confidence in constituents nor prospective businesses that you're hoping to attract. And I thank you for your consideration, and we look forward to your budget proposal, your official proposal in March.
Thank you very much.
Chair people, I would like to speak for the libraries. I have 5 reasons that I believe that the people should increase funding for libraries. There are books that most people cannot afford in the library that are free. I go to the library pretty much every day after school. I only live about 5 blocks from it. It's a very safe, very close area. I have to do my homework there. I have better access to the internet to help do my work. There are great programs, like if you've noticed in the Laurel branch, there's a French story time thing going on as we speak. Well, I'm taking a language course right here, I know how hard that can be. My mother has a netbook, and I can realize how easy, and there are certain advantages to funding libraries, because then I can download certain books. Like I've downloaded a book very recently. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That concludes our hearing, and we will be presenting the budget to the council on the March 14th. So I'm sure they're going to do their own public hearing. So we will take your comments back, and if you want, you can still send us information to our office, budget and management, if you have ideas. Thank you.